Do we have any apologies for absence?
Councillor Crawford.
Do we have any disclosures of interest or grant of dispensations?
None have been received, Mr. Mayor.
No. I've got a little mayor's announcement. I'll stand up for this. Yep. Yeah. It's been an interesting 3 months period as mayor. Also, thank Deputy Mayor Baker, who attended some of the events also. The very first appointment was in May, watching the Ashton Male Voice Choir. I had to get me hanky out for this one, for particular songs that brought tear to my eye. We are also welcomed by the volunteers on the LV50 light ship. That's permanently berthed in South Harbour at the Yacht Club. It's a must see if anybody would like to see any historic ships. We also got invited to the Rotary Club, where I've done a short speech, me and Councillor Baker. They do so many charity events and services for the local area and wider. This branch is into its 100th year now, and we had a warm welcome, and it was lovely to see familiar local faces that are members. I've also opened a business in a fantastic play park in Newsham at Cottonwood Green, attended with many live town councillors and town council staff. I'd like to thank them from the residents for making this possible. It's worth looking at and seeing what can be achieved with the dedication everyone put into it. The children there would benefit from this and make new friends, and it will also promote their health and fitness. Councillors have had requests on inclusion in parks for SEND children, and this will be looked at by all councillors and town council staff. I would like to make a statement from myself on negative comments. We've got on about the cinema before. I had the opportunity to go in there and have a look. I was a little bit sceptic on the cinema as well, I've got to admit. But I think the negative comments will disappear on this one when they actually get in there and have a look. Where am I? Right. Right, the space outside is still significant. Many things can be done outside of there. The seating is in abundance. You can have a coffee outside of there and people watch. Meet friends, it's a must. We all like to watch people. Memories of the old markets are still in our minds. Ideas are welcome for any type of market, what you would like to continue, be it food, market, anything like that. We look forward to Blythe Celebrates starting Saturday the 23rd of August through the Christmas light switch on Saturday the 22nd of November. Details can be found on notice boards and in www.blythecelebrates.co.uk. Let's all create memories, bring Blythe together through creativity. I thank everyone for their time in making Blythe a better place for all. It's the people of Blythe that make the place so great. Thank you for the position I've been given.
Thank you, Deputy.
I will go to item 4. It's the minutes of the annual council meeting held on the 13th of May 2025 to agree the minutes as a true record.
Agreed. Your second.
Yeah, ask a question on the minutes, Chair.
Yep.
Is there any update on the council going to host surgeries again?
Yes, we'll have to talk about that like a group one at the CVA.
Yeah. So we've got one date and we've got to start for another venue for bringing Elisa in on that one.
Yeah, so that's something that I've already started looking into from September going forward. So I've already got the 26th of July confirmed just at the hub. And then from September, we'll be looking at another venue to host it.
Thank you. Chair.
Okay, we've agreed the minutes. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, can I just confirm, is that 10 till 12?
Yes.
It is.
Because they're all providing this year 7 more, so year.
Same.
Both sides, maybe. Yeah, if you want to see. Keep it before just do it.
Yeah.
If you want this. You're all right, then.
Right, we're all in.
And it's
Right.
any conclusion from the previous ones, that was just nice.
Yeah, can I ask something on the minutes as well? Is it possible we can have an amendment on the community fund and the subcommittee minutes against line 46, because it's not really transparent. It's saying it was proposed to grant 4,300, which was half of it, and it went to vote with 4 in favour and 6 against.
We're not there.
And then
Sorry,
it's not
we're not there yet, We're just on full council at the moment.
Oh, right, well, when you mentioned the minutes, I thought those were. All right.
Okay, we're going to item 4.1, actions outstanding from previous minutes.
But we haven't got any, but I think I have answered one of the questions from councillor Carr, so.
I'm
That's it.
fine with that, Chair.
Yeah, that's, we agree with this thing.
Yeah, move on to item 5,
Just agree.
which is the Environment Committee on the 27th of May 2025. Minutes to be agreed on that one.
I agree the minutes, but can we agree the minutes in block instead of each one?
No,
No, well, no, they've got different big fixes.
Members have questions on.
Well,
Yeah.
each one.
So if we move to a block, we can then answer it from the block.
Yeah. Once you've got them blocked, unblocked,
But
Then
people
you can
don't
ask-
know what they are yet.
So that's why the main public,
So if we can talk about one thing at a time,
It's cute, then.
Caitlin.
I don't have any questions on environment. I'm happy to agree those.
Right,
Was that-
that's all agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 5.2, Community Funding Subcommittee, 10th of June 2025.
agree the minutes.
Yes. Can I ask for an amendment, if possible, to the minutes on the live poll shifts? Like I mentioned earlier, it's not very clear. It says it was proposed to grant 4,200, which is half of the requested grant. And this went to vote with 4 in favour and 6 against. And then it moves on to say resolved pursuant to Local Government Act section to grant the full of 8,361. You know, the beginning, the part where it was proposed for the 4,200 was a motion that was put in. But then it doesn't mention that, you know, the motion was overturned as such, and we all then took a vote against the full amount, and that the full amount was granted.
No, that's what it is saying. It's saying that it was proposed to grant 4,200, but it went to the vote. And that vote was overturned on a vote of 4 in favour and 6 against. But then it was agreed to grant the full amount.
Yeah, was it agreed unanimously
I
for the full amount?
I didn't know that it was a unanimous agreement when I wrote the minutes of the meeting. I didn't have a record of it being a unanimous decision. I asked Malcolm, who checked his notes of the meeting, and he didn't have a record of it being a unanimous decision. I can't prove whether it was unanimous or not because we don't record the part 2 of the meeting. But if 4 of the members had voted for a lesser amount, it implies that there may not have.
It's just on all the others, you said it was unanimous, but on this one, it's not clear.
Yeah,
I know that.
I would say it's a unanimous when I'm clear that it's been a unanimous decision and I've written it down because I can see all hands raised.
Right.
But if I'm unclear, then I wouldn't write that.
Yeah, that was unclear as well on that one. So
It doesn't change the outcome.
Just to give it, yeah, just to give a bit more transparency.
Right. It doesn't change the outcome.
Thank you. You agree on the minutes for this one, for that one? The community, agree? 5.3, Community Development Committee, 26th of June, 2025. Do we agree on these ones, or any comments? Agreed. Anybody else? Please. Yes, thank you. 5.4, Governance Committee, 10th of July, 2025. Caitlin,
I just wanted to ask for point on it, I guess. The agenda item 8, where it says the financial software update, it says obviously you gave a verbal update regarding that. It doesn't note in the minutes whether it was agreed or not agreed on the decision report of that meeting. I don't know if it's for this meeting or whether I need to ask outside of it, but what was the update and what is the decision from the report, please?
was this the update on the insurance?
No.
The financial, I can't share, the financial update on bringing a new software system was that thing we asked the committee to note. It wasn't a case of making a decision. It was just to note the progress that officers were making, which I felt was very satisfactory. It was going at a good pace. We brought in the internal order to independently look at how it's been implementing the package, comparing the new package to the old package, which was still parallel running with. And he gave a very satisfactory progress report. And it was also for the members to note that we were nearly at the situation of being able to stop parallel running, which they're not going to affect considerable resources in doing so. The only things that we had to do was make sure that we would do, the new online digital way of producing a VAT return, which was successful. So we've shot that off. And we're just looking at the year-end procedures when we've got to report to the external auditor. So we are quite happy, and I'm looking to, maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully just use the new financial package on its own.
That's brilliant, thank you. I think from reading the report, I was happy with that, and I thought that's where we were going, but I just wanted to clarify because I wasn't 100% from the minutes. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments on that one? We agree the minutes on the governance committee?
Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you. Right, recommendations from the committees. To adopt the allotment wildlife fund policy as amended and recommended by the Environment Committee on the 27th of May 2025.
I mean, on that one,
Yeah.
So, since we had that meeting, everybody in the council be aware there was no representation by the Allotments Association. So we're really voting on something that, in my opinion, we didn't really have an awful lot of knowledge about.
Yeah, can you speak up, please?
We're talking about things that we didn't really have a lot of knowledge about at the time because the Allotment Association wasn't represented at that meeting. So since then, I went to speak to the chair to start with, who's raised a lot of concerns, and I sent everybody an email, and I think it should be reconsidered. Because one of the things that he brought was that there would be a problem with rat infestation when you've got places where you've got ponds that gives rats access to water, and you've got allotments with food for everybody's own stuff. So you're going to have a problem as far as worms concerned. And also there's people, and I'm aware of this as well, who have had problems and they'll just leave their allotment for about 6 or 7 weeks and never attended. So what happened is you'll end up with a funnel of water, which is going to be full of like stagnant water, where you're going to get mosquitoes and other types of insects. from the allotments, so that, and a lot of allotments are adjacent to houses, so people are not going to be happy about that. And then you've got the problem with DEFRA, because if you've got things like duck ponds, and you've got ducks defecating in a pond which is in ground level, you're going to have contaminated water where you're going to have problems with lakes, typhoid and things like that. So I then went and spoke to the secretary of the allotments, Stephen Danielson, and he told me that there's no way on earth that he would be able to monitor this on a regular basis. It would take an awful lot of work for him to access on a regular basis all the allotments to make sure that these are all being properly looked after. So the suggestion by the chair was, if people want to have ducks, then what he suggested was they should have raised tanks where you can fill them with water. And these tanks, if you want to be able to put your ducks in the tanks to have a bit swim around, maybe it's about 8 inches deep, should be available with a drain on them so that the water can be drained off and then cleaned enough. There's people who really want to look after, want to have ducks on their allotments, and they want to look after the ducks properly. Then obviously the water that's swimming around in needs to be cleaned anyway. How can you guarantee that the water's clean if it's something that's being dug out the ground and you just let them go in and swim in it? The other thing is, I was suggesting that well, as far as wildlife's concerned, to keep the birds out, put netting over the top. Well, I've actually had problems myself on my allotment where you've got birds trying to get in, where you've got berries and stuff like that getting entangled in the netting. So if you've got places where you've got a very dry period and you've got a pond, the birds are going to try and get into the water, and that you're going to have another situation where birds are actually going to get snared. So that's another problem that I'm also aware of. Yes, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I just ask, was this raised at the conflict of interest that you've got allotment and now you're bringing this up? Was that raised?
There's no conflict of interest, no.
But he's got allotment, but he's bringing it up as a councillor.
Yes,
So that's
there's a lot of
interest.
people's got allotments as
Yeah, well,
well.
that's conflict of interest on his behalf.
Malcolm's got an allotment as well.
Yeah,
But he's not bringing up a situation.
yeah,
He's done his homework on what's happening.
I think the councillor Johnson is just raising issues. I don't think.
Yes, but he should raise it as a conflict of interest at the moment.
Well, I can go into that outside of this meeting, but I don't, on my judgment call, I don't think councillor Johnson at the previous meeting
Yeah, but then
was doing anything wrong.
we asked at the beginning of this meeting if anybody had a conflict of interest. That should have been raised at that time.
I'm not done.
I personally.
Yes,
don't
but
think-
you haven't offered, and you're making a comment on your offered.
I'm not making a comment.
Yes.
It's not a comment. Actually, I've made a report based on what.
So, yeah, but then that's report is a conflict of interest. He has allotment, he's acting as a councillor as well. So
I think
that's two. Yes,
So do you think what I'm saying here would be totally disregarded?
No, I think you should have raised at the beginning of the meeting that you had a conflict.
Sorry,
Can I just say something before we open? I think what councillor Johnson is reporting are comments that have been passed to him
Yes,
from the association.
I'm not secretary, not.
And I don't think, at this point, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But should he not raise that he has allotment, and therefore,
I mean, do we say, I don't think that's what we're discussing this, because we don't say in other particular cases that somebody might have spoke to somebody at the,
yes.
in like tall ships or the CVA. I don't think
Do you
it's
understand where
actually,
I'm coming from there, Mark? or not?
no.
No,
But I think,
He has allotment.
I think we can move on. If you
yeah,
don't mind. I don't
Deirdre
think
wanted to
we're
say
anywhere.
something.
Okay, that's-
Deirdre?
It's just, I agree with everything that councillor Johnson has said. I once, many years ago, had a pond and it takes an awful lot of maintenance. Algae develops very, very quickly and and especially around allotments, that sometimes people do turn up once in a while. They can, if they become ill, there's nobody that can look after it, and It's not a place for wildlife, basically. The netting is something which I would never agree with. I've seen places where they've had netting and I've seen the carnage that the netting causes. Like I've said, I agree wholeheartedly with everything that he
I
said.
was looking at there's an allotment or a small holding at the end of the day when you start introducing animals,
That's it.
you know, and,
You can't go down that route.
you know,
We've got to protect the animals as well as.
yeah, Councillor Jones.
It was two things really, I guess. One, on the declaration of interest, previous councillor did used to declare that she was an allotment holder when we were having these discussions. So there is a precedent. So I'll leave it at that, but that's all I was gonna say. I do agree with a lot of what you've just said, but a lot of it we did discuss in the original meeting that most members were a part of, including obviously the plot holders need to ask for permission. It's not that anyone can just go and randomly have a pond. They do need to have permission and go through all the checks to have one. And presumably then there will be continuous checks once there is a pond in place. And if anyone is not.
Just explained all this, and he said the allotment association aren't really happy in having ponds anyway, so he's discussed it with it.
No, I know, I'm saying that, but you're saying that it's for people that were randomly not gonna be there for 7 weeks. That's.
Yeah, he's already said that, yes. Councillor Nisbet,
Chair,
he's already,
That's
I'm sorry, he's already said that.
No, we're
I did.
having a discussion.
Yeah, I think Kate was saying something different here.
I'm sorry, when you were talking over councillor Elliott before saying the exact same thing, we didn't shut you down.
Sorry,
So I'm sorry, that's not fair.
sorry, carry on.
You know what, forget, because you've made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry about
Carry
that.
on.
Can we have a recess, yeah?
The only thing I was going to say, because we agreed with the last environment committee, is this an amendment you want to put to it, not the ponds? You want to put an amendment rather than the ponds to a raised pond.
So that's correct.
So it's amendment, that's what he's saying, it's amendment.
Chair, can I ask for a recess?
Agreeing with the
You
raised pond.
certainly can.
Malcolm, can I have a recess, please?
It's up to the chair of the meeting, yeah, we have a 5-minute.
We have councillor that's been obviously upset by. action from the
Certainly,
council,
you
the
can have
mayor.
Uh,
a recess, yes.
You have to
Recess.
suspend the meeting for a few minutes, yeah, so we'll come back in 5 minutes if that's. Right, the chair's just asked us to continue with this particular aspect of the agenda. Councillor Johnson's just made a series of points there, discussions with the allotment association. Personally, I'm a little bit disappointed that they've come out at this stage because we did discuss the draft with the allotment association a few weeks before we actually published it, but that's by the by. But Councillor Johnson is saying, if I'm correct on this one, that am I taking it that any new ponds that are introduced to any Blythe Town or association managed sites should be raised ponds?
The suggestion is that, because I'm not aware of any ponds being on allotments at the moment, but if we do allow people to have ponds of any description, what they should be is ones which can be drained down and cleaned, which would have to be above ground level.
I mean, just for information, there are some ponds on allotment sites. I'm not aware that we've got any ducks in those ponds, that, the frogs and newts and what have you, and people have their plants in there. But certainly, on that particular point, we can take this one away. We'll just defer it off to another meeting and we will add in those things about raised ponds. We can get that done and we'll bring it back to a future meeting. But before we're closed on this, I mean, has anybody else got any?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have concerns with regard to even raised ponds because they still become full of bacteria. They're not healthy for ducks or whatever, maybe washing or bathing or trying to swim around in them. You just need to look at a garden. water pond for birds, and I clean mine out twice a day. And you go back in this weather and it's, you can tell, and the birds are drinking it, and it upsets me because I have to keep it clean, because it kills them in the end. In my opinion, I don't think we should have any lives, any kind of chickens or ducks or rabbits or anything in our allotments. We're not back in the days when people struggle to find food, where, you know, they would go and just take the head of a rabbit and have it for tea. And that's what happens. And, you know, in my opinion, that's what I would do. There wouldn't be an issue then about ponds. We should just have, let them grow the vegetables and the fruits and what have you. But animals, I think, should not be allowed, because they're not always well cared for on a lot of those allotments. You know, some might, but we all know that's not the case. It's like, you know, the pigeon men. But that's another issue. But personally, I would just not have any ponds or any live animals. We can't deal with that tonight.
No.
But like I say, the raised ponds are just as bad. They're full of bacteria, and does harm the animals, whether it's ducks or whatever.
Thank you. Any other comments? No.
I think we're in a position now, we've got to, I mean, there is this amended policy. There is some views that people want ponds. I've got to be a bit particular type, people don't want ponds. I think we need to clarify if the council does want to allow ponds in the future. I think that decision needs to be made, because at the minute we're in a bit of a situation where we can't move forward. We're in a bit of
Well,
a
that's how we move, that we just don't have ponds in the future. It resolves all the arguments.
Councillor Carden.
I think if the allotment association don't want them, or they're not keen on having them, I think we should just knock it on the head.
Right, well, you need a second.
Sorry, it's either we knock it on the head or just do further investigations. That's the way I would go with it. Yeah, but they might need a bit, because this is a new amendment that's come up now, so, you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, just a second that, you know what I mean, I agree with the whole ponds and livestock thing, you know what I mean, if you're not experienced at livestock, then you say people don't look after them properly. I live right on the back of allotment, and you still get rats, you know what I mean, that's why, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, you put livestock into that, I mean, I haven't got an allotment, so I'm not experienced in it, you know what I mean, but at the end of the day, you put livestock into that, it's a minefield. It's a minefield. You've got people living around all the allotments. I mean, I'm presuming the other allotments in other areas, it's going to cause problems. And I might be disagreeing with other people, but I'd knock it on the head.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to second the point. I can't remember, sorry, who made it earlier, but it was the difference between allotments and small holdings. And I think once you start introducing animals onto it, it becomes more like a small holding. And from that point of view, I would be strongly against it. Also on an environmental and health issue as well. It's a breeding ground for bacteria and possible health issues.
Councillor Erskine.
Like, from me being a kid, like, my old man had a lot of the chickens off, and a lot of people have got chickens still. I think if we're going to take that away, then I think it's quite a shame, because they say food's readily available. It's not, because if it was, we wouldn't have food banks. We wouldn't be donated to food banks. Some people use it to subsidise their food, but also use it to sell to make a little bit of money on the side. So I don't think we should get rid of them.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
I don't think we suggest never get rid of the chickens or anything like that. What the issue is here is, we should have ponds in allotments on this. That's the issue. It's not about livestock. It's just about the ponds. That is the issue that we've got.
Wasn't I just said before that we should get rid of the livestock?
I know Deirdre suggested that, but I don't think everybody would agree with that, but I think, well, that was my point, that's on me, I think that's how, I agree with you there, like everybody else. But then again, I would have to be clear and interest there, because I have got chickens, yeah.
Do you think we should have the allotments association come in and do a proper meeting on this one?
Well, I did ask them to come. So I think maybe we should just defer.
Big line.
Thing, but
Right.
just defer it for a,
Just
have a vote on that. It goes out.
He says just defer it to you.
Yeah, almost earlier than I did.
Yeah. And should, and in the meantime, we can get the allotment associations and do more research into ponds and things like that.
Yes.
Do we not have a proposal that was seconded to not have any ponds? Or have I missed that? And Deirdre proposed it and it was seconded by John.
Yeah, we have no funds.
Can I just ask, is every allotment owner or rent have been asked? If they went through, if every single person who's got allotment in Blythe been asked if they want fund or not? No. So how can the association speak on behalf of everybody? You've had a conversation with one person, but then everybody's been asked.
Well, it's not, it's everybody's been asked, they're expected to, administer and look and make sure that they're being looked after properly. And this is where the conflict comes in, because they haven't got the facilities.
So I think we could defer it back and then have, ask the ones that are renting the allotments. It should be a democracy. Because we might ask every single owner, and then we might get 90% say, yeah, of course we want funds. Just because 10% does, doesn't mean democracy wins. Otherwise,
I totally see your point, but then again, you're going to have the situation saying all the allotments.
Right, sure.
Okay, right. Let's vote against for that.
Chair.
you cannot necessarily say
Until we get the
a pond will bring them. I parked the Keelrow car park, or what was the Keelrow car park, and to take my son to a music lesson, I saw 4 rats. So are we gonna say we shouldn't have certain things in town centre because we've got rats? Rats are rats, they're gonna be there whether you put a pond there or not, because there's feed there. A rat will find water no matter what. They will find a way to get water if they want it. I mean, taking the pond away is not gonna be the solution, but it should be up to democracy, to the shareholders of the allotments, if they want ponds or not. Why, how can we make a decision on their behalf? It should be up to them to come to us and say what they want.
Can I just intervene here? I know there's a conversation going on. There has been a withdrawal by councillor Campbell.
If you agree to withdraw until the allotment holders, all of them are consulted and sorry, Malcolm, carry on.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about consulting with all of the allotment holders, I mean, all of the allotment holders are aware of what's been discussed by the fact that we, advertise the meetings and what have you. But by allowing ponds, it doesn't actually force allotment holders to have them. It's still their choice. So we'll have very few ponds on allotments anyway. So, if 9 out of 10 don't want them, 9 out of 10 don't build them. And it's just as simple as that. But we can do further research into it and bring it back,
Yes,
if we can, to the September environment.
that'd be fine.
That's what I wanted to request.
I hope nobody wants kangaroos by then.
Thank you. Move on to 6.2, yeah. Elaine, would you like to move on to
Has that
6.2?
been carried? My proposal to defer, yes, right, Jack. Right.
Elaine, would you like to do 6.2?
I can do, the recent meeting of the governance committee, considered a report on, adopting a local policy for DBS checks on elected members, and members of staff. These would be voluntary DBS checks for elected members, because whereas those who are county councillors have a duty of care to vulnerable people and other responsible parent for children in the care system, that does not apply at town council level. But it was recommended by the governance committee unanimously that everyone was supportive of the town councillors having basic DBS checks, with the mayor and deputy mayor having enhanced DBS checks because of their involvement in the mayoral cadet role. Subsequent to this, I have spoken to the Disclosure and Barring Service, and they have confirmed that those members who are elected members at County Council who have undergone the enhanced DBS checks can carry those over to the town council and don't need to go through the process again.
Thank you very much.
But that is a recommendation from the governance committee to adopt a local policy, and we would then arrange DBS checks at basic level for the remaining town councillors and for staff.
Thank you very much.
Needs to be proposed.
Gary, thank you.
Chair, can I just ask, you know, some of the county councillors that haven't had their DBS done yet, what happens to them? That's the county council haven't had theirs done.
We're getting separate DBSs done at the county hall.
But
I think everybody's been
there's some
asked to get them done.
but others haven't had them done.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how would that?
So how does that work then?
If they're town council?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think we all should have a DBS check because of what the role we have. And this is why we brought it in at County Hall before the break. So it's just, you know.
I think some of us are going through getting them done now at county hall. Like I said, a lot of them are in practice. Me and Rick have to get an enhanced one.
Yeah, that's what the town council.
Yes.
So if you need to get it, everybody have ABS and county.
Yeah. I know what's
It's
gonna
going through the
I think
process.
that, yeah.
Yes.
But we agreed that.
Yes, the majority of homes are going through the process.
But the question that I'm asking is if you have, if some of the councillors in county haven't yet had their DBS, which I know there's quite a few, and they're on the town council, so how does that work? So we're being asked to go through the DBS, which is, I thought, made it all, because I agree with it wholly. But it's just the fact that some haven't gone through it yet.
Can I just answer that question, please?
Sorry, John.
So,
David.
so when you get your enhanced certificate, it's just you, so I've got mine 2 days ago, and I think it should be produced to the town clerk or the deputy town clerk, so they actually see it. And then they've got a record of the certificate, and they know that they've got it.
Yeah.
That would be my suggestion.
Definitely.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott.
I'll just question how councillor Elliott knows how some haven't done it. Because the closing dates are over yet. I think the closing date for that, I mean, I don't mind. So I'm happy, but
Yeah.
I would question how you know some haven't done it, and where they get that information from.
Well,
No, where they
we're
get that information from.
getting over.
No, but how would you know some haven't done it? I'm just asking the question, how would you know some haven't done
I
it?
think this is probably a county councillor discussion.
No, Brian, I'm asking the question.
Yeah,
Hang on, one person at a time, please.
That's just this, because I do know,
Right.
right?
So
Okay, that's all I'm
very
going to say.
It's very interesting.
Thank you very much.
And I just want to come back on that point though that Kath raised, that if there was any member of the county council that hadn't undergone the check, this is a voluntary requirement at town council level. We could not force you to do it. Voluntary only at town council.
I'd like me doing.
Think Brian. Sorry, Brian.
No, I was having a private discussion with the councillor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
I mean, after tonight, if we're gonna have a vote on this one as a council, because it is a policy, so if we can vote on that, those in favour of adopting this policy.
They've been proposed already.
Rick, second by Caitlin, agreed by everyone in the room at the time. Brian wasn't in the room at the time. Brian, do you agree?
I don't know what I'm going to, so I can't agree.
I can't vote. Brian can't vote on.
I agree with it, but I think it should be mandatory, because we're visiting people's houses and we hope we're going to be holding very sensitive information on people. I think it should be mandatory, enhanced DBS for everybody.
I agree with that as well, yeah.
John? Yeah.
Anybody else? Any questions?
I think we'll just have a vote.
I mean, what we will do after this meeting now has been approved. You know, we'll be contacting town councillors in the next few days. County councillors we won't bother with just for now because they're going through the process and be waiting for the certificate. So we will be contacting town councillors shortly.
Thank you. 1.3, almost a 6.3, Malcolm, would you like to tell about that?
Thank you, Chair. At the governance committee last week, there was a very lengthy discussion on should we self-insure or should we insure. The decision at the time on the governance committee, which is a recommendation to council, is that we go down the self-insurance route. So the council have got to vote on that recommendation. Something which I will just add in, and it applies whether or not you go down the insurance or the self-insurance route. When you're talking about money, how you spend money is linked to your objectives, the council objectives. Now, the previous council did have objectives, 4 objectives. And that's how the council conducted their business, created budgets, etc., etc. So just as a byproduct, we will be needing to get councillors together and work in group format in order to discuss what objectives may change, may be added to, may be slightly revised. So we will be going through that process in time for the budget cycle starting. So that's just an add-on to this, whether you agree to the change or you don't. So we'll be contacting you. So
Table vote on, that's what happened.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Sorry, just so I can clarify my understanding of it is, when we had the governance meeting, the discussion was whether we continue to self-insure or we go down a formal insurance route. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think at the time, the recommendation, which was very close, I think it was down to the chair's decision, casting decision, to vote to recommend to the committee that we go down the £17,000 per annum route as a paid insurance. I was arguing at the time that I'd like to keep this as a self-insurance because I think previously the council and the town have benefited from those savings with things like small schemes like play parks and things like that, from where they've saved money and been able to reuse it into the community. So obviously, I understand we're going to have a vote on that now, but I just wanted to reiterate what I said in that meeting. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm not in favour of the paid insurance.
So those in favour of change it to insuring your risk.
Okay, all those in favour of insuring externally?
Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask, what is this insurance?
Oh, what? It's insurance of all external assets.
So we're talking about war memorials and such?
Yeah, play parks and any of our external assets, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's play parks, the war memorials in that?
It's war memorials, play parks, bush shelters, public seating.
Right.
Yeah.
The council, but we, as a town council, look after.
The county council do own the war memorials, but they have handed over all management responsibilities to the town council. So it's like a few years ago, we did the parade area, we did the ramp going around the outside. So we look after the maintenance. The county don't contribute a penny to the war memorials.
Thank you. Councillor Jones?
I've read this report a number of times and I keep going around in circles. So can I just clarify what are the benefits of changing from self-insured to external insurance, if that's what if that's what the council
Excuse me?
recommended.
Excuse me. Can we listen to the councillor, please?
The question from councillor Jones was, what is the advantage of going from self-insurance to insuring through a commercial insurance company at a cost of 17,500?
I was just asking the same thing, sorry.
Yeah, or you want it?
Yeah.
Right.
The reason the report was written, it was the policy of the previous council to self-insure, as you know. We did have a member request to look at this area and to put up the option. Last week we put up the option of seeing what the cost of having an external insurance policy would be. The reserves that we keep to self-insure are just over £300,000. If we did go down the insurance route, it wouldn't release £300,000. It would release part of it, because you've got to take into account over the medium-term financial plan the cost of the insurance premium, the 6 times £17,000 that were raised last week, so as it doesn't have an effect on the council taxpayer. So it's not an immediate fine of 300, it's a lot less.
So there isn't any real benefit to the council, it's purely about releasing funds.
Releasing funds in the short term until it's spent.
There was a valid point councillor Erskine come up with about the war memorials. I didn't know we were in charge of them now.
We've always been charged for that.
Well, it's just said that we're in charge now with them. They're priceless, these, memorials, and I would like to change my mind on the vote as well.
Well, we haven't had
Can I ask that to be in the import for this, please?
Okay. Just obviously I give the casting vote on it, and there was a long debate on it, and it was close, as Rick said. So we'll just emphasise the point what we're doing as a council is, and like Malcolm said, self-insurance over the past 10 years for somebody else. A good question, and some good questions, both sides. Whatever claimed in the past, and whatever clear the self-insurance out in the past, I think it was a little amount of whatever. But there's no guarantee, I think, you said the same, that this time next week, that we couldn't have a wipeout that cost £400,000. So it was a good point to raise that we've been self-insured since the council's been a council, I think. So the fact now is to insure all the assets is going to cost for £17,000 per annum, or thereabout, with the growth. I did ask the question, what would be the excess? That's important. But I think it's very important that when we're representing the public of live now, that if there was a way out, I know there hasn't been one, we haven't been insured, and you're going to use their self-funded money to do that. I think it would go down worse than losing 17 grand. So my casting vote was put on that principle. £17,000 of public money, taxpayers' money, to get insured is a lot of money. And if there's not a claim in that year, then it's money lost. If there's just one claim of a war memorial get wiped out by a car or a bus or whatever, it was worth it. And that's why I went on that. So it's a hard one, this one. But I would propose tonight that we'll carry the vote of the committee, and we'll get this insurance. I'll be looking for a second for that.
A second that.
Some council.
I'll second.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, I think that's done.
No. The recommendation, I mean, Barry, you've supported what you said last week. The recommendation is that we have, from the governance committee, that we no longer self-insure. We go down the insurance route, the negotiations with the insurance companies, etc. We insure our assets. So that's the recommendation from the government committee. Councillor Erskine has now asked for a named vote So what we've got to do is go through the process of, the recommendation is that we insure by an insurance company. So we need those in favour of that. If you can put your hands up, because we will have to record it. By having a name vote, it actually appears in the minutes as a name vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
People now,
Sorry.
I would vote now.
It's all.
Yeah, you think you're right. Sorry.
Sorry, just one more thing I'd like to add, and I really appreciate the sort of comments that councillor Elliott and councillor Erskine have put forward. A couple of thoughts on that was that if it's not broken, I didn't think it needed fixing. We've been successful with the way it's been used so far, and also we had a meeting earlier today with the police representative about Project Shield and about monies possibly going towards them to do some enhanced policing in the area. And I was just thinking that, you know, money that maybe earmarked for insurance might be better and spent for a higher police profile.
Right.
I don't think, Chair, I just don't think that £17,000 going to get much of a police enhancement.
Well, just to answer that, at the meeting we had, they had very successful results in Cramlington with this. They reduced antisocial behaviour by 46%.
That was for seven.
Sorry.
Well, not that money part.
Yeah, can I just say that is a separate issue. I think we should concentrate on the hand, which is the insurance, which has come from the chair of governance via this. The issue that the other issue that we're talking about, well, I've got a representative from the county who will give more information and summarises what's been said. But if we can just come back to the name vote. Now, those four are agreeing to, we're no longer self-insure and we'll go down buying commercial insurance to insure our assets. So is everybody okay on that? So those four, that recommendation, you can keep your hands up long enough.
Recommendation for insurance.
This is for outside insurance.
The recommendation is to buy outside insurance.
It's to the former, Captain Expert, Andrew Campbell, Caitlin Julian, Daniel Kyle, Brian Erskine, John Woods, Ruby Elliott, Mark Page, Denise Nicholson, Natalie Jones, Tracy Elliott.
Those against.
And those against.
Ben Sprickbaker and David Johnston. Oh, and Adrian Barton.
So thank you very much. That's carried then. So that's carried for outside insurance policy.
How many have we got? Or you voted in?
Yeah.
Against. Four.
I voted 5, so.
Yeah, sorry, I missed you.
Okay, we'll move on to decision reports, item 7.1, performance management. We had a motion regarding performance management and a recommendation to create a time-limited cross-party task and finish group consisting of members or the staff and subcommittee for the review of performance management as outlined in the motion and delivered by Councillor Pierce and myself. It's not ward specific. And what we read the whole lot out, or have you got about this?
No, I think it's as the report, unless people have got, unless there wants to be a presentation, a quick presentation perhaps.
Would you like a presentation on this?
I can give it words on why you want to put it in. So,
Thank you.
Performance management is a useful tool for people who's working there. It addresses if they need any trainer needs, if they've got any personal issues, if they need anything to help their job. It also gives them, if they come to the performance management working groups, if they've got any ideas to work through. It's also used basically put a scrutiny on them in that job role, so it works both ways. It's a useful tool to make them more efficient in support what office staff that we've got working here and your own staff, you know. So it will help them out. Any courses what they need, we can look at getting them on the that, any computer equipment or anything, any issues what they have, they can always come to, you know, so it'll be quite a useful thing.
Thank you. Is there anyone?
We've got to set up the recommendation that was in the motion. And so Pierre, yourself brought in, was to create a small group from I think the staff subcommittee, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. Because I think it was 5, was it 5, like you say? So I think it's just to do, for the council to say who those 5 people are. And then for how we're going to start the process. And if we could have, you know, in fairness to everybody, a kind of timeline which we're going to work to.
Yeah. So this will be a cross-party thing on the staffing committee. So we'll get any names out for this.
So I think it's, well, I think we've got to, I think proportionally, I think you would be looking at someone like 3-1-1, I think, with a, you know, for trying to round it off as best. Is that, I think that was suggested, is that still a thought?
3-1-1.
Yeah,
Any
comments come from the staff subcommittee who's going to be on the like the working group that then collates the evidence and takes it back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people don't need to decide tonight. I mean, you could, you know, we could come back with your 3 more, and we could have 1 and 1 from, you know, the 2 groups.
Councillor Jones.
Sorry, can I come back on what Councillor Pitt said there? Are you saying that we would have a staff subcommittee to decide who is on it, or are you saying that's
basically instead of having everybody there, so you would have a group for the liaise with the staff, and then you would go.
All of us are on the staff working group, the committee anyway, so we would be, so that's fine. I just wanted to clarify on your point on whether we're having another meeting to decide, or whether it would be done via emails.
No, everything comes back to the staff working committee. Yes.
Which there'll be 5 main persons, is that right?
Instead of 3-1-1.
3-1-1, yes.
Yeah, I think, you know, just for speed, I think if you know, we get Pat, give us the 3 names, and, you know, if we're going to have 1 from, you know, from your group and 1
on the staff. A few on the stuff is but just to clarify, the staff and subcommittee consists of Natalie Rawls, Walcheck, Brian Erskine, Kath Nisbet, Mark Peart, John Woods, Barry Elliott, Caitlin Jones, Daniel Carr, and Adrian Carty. So you
So if you can, you know, discuss between yourselves and send us, you know, 3, 1 and 1. And then we can arrange an initial meeting.
Yeah.
I'm available.
Okay.
Yeah, you're open to that.
We'll do that by sending your names into that. Yeah. Moving on to 7.3 planning committee representation. Yeah. Deferred. Okay, 7 point. Sorry, Gail.
Agree on that. We haven't actually done a vote. Do we need to do a vote on that decision report?
You can sort it out and.
No, not about our names. I'm saying, do we need to vote that we're agreeing it? Because we haven't actually done that.
But just can I clarify? You've agreed 3-1-1 staff and subcommittee. I'm assuming that's political proportionality. So is that because you've got all of the Conservative members are on the staff and subcommittee? So does that give them the 3 seats, and then the 1 seat to Labour and 1 to Reform? I'm confused about the proportionality there.
I did not understand. Why was I just asking how we agreeing? I know we've just started saying names, but are we agreeing the decision report? Because I don't think we've actually done that.
We'll split the 5 in proportion to whatever the percentages are.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask, then who's
Got to have a
I was
vote.
gonna,
who's agreed to this?
yeah,
Who's agreed to it?
That's one we haven't considered out yet.
But who's agreed that we're gonna do 3-1-1?
No one.
It was a suggestion by Malcolm.
Yeah,
That's a suggestion, that's a suggestion. And that if it goes ahead, we've got to get there, we've got to get the names from there. But it'll be based on the proportions within 22, 2-1. So we've got to move the report. We've got to propose that. Councillor Peter.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need a vote on. In favour of the report. I would say.
okay, all those in favour of the report?
This is not in the rules, so it's all in favour, but to this.
Yeah, 7.3, so move on to 7.2, financial information requests. There's what's up.
Yeah, okay. 7.2 financial information requests. As outlined in the report, we were requested to provide financial information on the 22nd of May, which we collated quite quickly and turned around and made available to all members of the council on the 29th of May. But we haven't had any feedback on that, so we were just obviously the request came in for access to all this financial information, and just for the purposes of clarity of procedure, managing staff resources, etc. We were wondering if, because we haven't heard anything back on it, if this could be formalised into a cross-party working group to look at what exactly is being looked at, has anything been found. It might be of benefit for those members who were previous members to be present, because they might have information on why things were the way they were, or officers. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say really.
I don't think anything was flagged, was there from saying that?
Anybody got anything to say on this one?
Yeah, I'm happy to propose the required parties.
Just got to propose this again.
I don't have anything to say on it. If it's a request from the council, I'm happy to propose it.
That's, yeah, there's a working group on it.
Well, the second.
It's second.
I think it'll do it.
Good vote. Is the good vote?
Sorry.
But we propose in the second, have to propose everything.
Right. One on the vote for carry that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Move on to 7.3, planning committee representation deferred from the community development committee.
It's okay if I speak to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Community Development Committee was considering a report on the makeup of the Planning and Development Committee at Town Council. The matter was deferred because the County Council were making changes to their local area committee structure, and those changes have now been resolved. At the time, we had what you call dual hatters, where they're members of the County Council and also Town Council, sitting on the Planning and Development Committee at Town Council, but also on the local area committee at County Council. The issue with that was, while they could be members of both committees, if they participated in the consultee stage at Town Council level, they would lose their voice at County Council, which means they wouldn't be able to participate in the decision-making process. And that would be a loss to Blythe. So what we were doing initially was looking at how to allocate the seats on the Planning and Development Committee to avoid the loss of voices at county. But subsequently, the situation has changed, and we now only have 2 members of the town council who participate in the decision-making process of planning at county. That is councillor Barry Elliott, who's on the revised local area committee, whatever they're calling it. I'm sorry, I'm not sure of the official name for it. Partnership agreement. And we also have councillor Barry Elliott and Natalie Rose on the strategic planning committee. For the community development committee, which has delegated powers for strategic planning. Sorry, Daniel is also on the strategic planning, my mistake. For community development committee, considers strategic planning applications. Whilst Daniel, Natalie and Barry all sit on the community development committee, there is 13 members, so they can simply withdraw and the meeting is still quorate, and the remainder of the council can take part in the consultee stage on strategic matters, and it doesn't interfere with your voices at strategic level at county. On planning and development committee, Daniel is not on planning and development. Natalie is, but planning and development does not consider strategic planning applications. They consider the more minor ones. So Natalie's voice is not compromised by participating in planning and development, but Barry's is. So the recommendation after all of this is that, and this has been discussed with the Reform Party, whose the main changes affect, is that Barry is removed from the Town Council's Planning and Development Committee so as not to compromise his voice at the County Council Planning Committee, and replaced by Councillor Tracy Elliott at the Planning and Development Committee. It's also been suggested that because Barry was the chair of the Planning and Development Committee, that David Swinhoe, who was the vice chair, steps up to be the chairperson and Tracy joins as vice chair.
Thank you very much.
Is that agreed?
Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Much. Okay, we're looking at the time there. I'd like to move to standing orders, please. We'll extend the meeting by half an hour. Thoughts and agreement? Great. Yeah. Delegated decisions report. There are no delegated decisions to report. Oh, well, big time the next meeting. The next meeting too. Oh, okay, down the date and time of the next meeting.
Sure. I'll just say for the article here, I think it would have kind of close meeting that it's a daunting asking for the most experienced chair any committee. I would just say to compliment you. There was some challenging issues there, not one specific one. I'd like to compliment you. And we'll keep the level head and keep it all calm and allow us to come with the words. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. The date and time of the next meeting. The next meeting of full council will be held on Thursday, the 16th of October, 2025, in the council chamber